Hey, it's Randy from Funeral Funds of America. In this video, I'm going to share with you the actual pricing for $15,000 worth of burial, cremation, final expense, life insurance, or funeral funds for a 79-year-old male. Now, first thing I encourage you to do is go to our website at funeralfunds.com, and on just about every page, we have these free quoters. And what you can do is just select the state that you live in. We are licensed in all 50 states, by the way. Select the coverage amount. Put your birthday in here, fill out the rest of the info, click Get Quotes Now. It will take you to a page that's going to show you the best insurance companies with the lowest rates based off your age, gender, and the state that you live in. And take full advantage of that because you'll be able to shop all the different insurance companies in your state and compare prices, and then give us a call at 888-862-9456, and we can verify what you can actually get approved for. Now, one of the first things we always chat about with the 79-year-old male when looking for $15,000 worth of coverage is, is that $15,000 even going to be appropriate for your final expense needs? Now, typically final expense needs is going to be cremation or burial. Let's talk cremation first. So there's two options with the cremation. There's the first option is where you get cremated and you just come home in a cardboard box or an urn. That's going to be between $1,000 and $2,000 on average. The second option is if there's going to be some sort of a ceremony, maybe a celebration of life or a remembrance ceremony, something like that. In addition to the cremation, that's probably going to be $3,500 to $4,500 roughly, just depending what part of the country you live in. Now, as far as coverage amount goes, that's two different amounts as well. For that first option where you're going to be cremated, come home in a cardboard box or an urn, we would typically help people with between $5,000 to $7,000 worth of coverage. Now, you might be going, Randy, what's the deal? You said the cremation was going to be around $2,000 max, and now you're suggesting $5,000 coverage. What's the deal there? Well, the deal is our 79-year-old male probably wants to make it to age 89, right? And we know with inflation, the prices go up over time. So what we actually do is we lock in the lowest rates at your current age right now. They'll never be lower than they are right now. We get a little bit more coverage so that we can inflation-proof the plan. So years down the road, when you do pass away, your family members aren't burdened with having to come up with any extra money. And then short term, if you die sooner than anybody thought, there's also some extra money on the front end just to pay for some unexpected expenses, like maybe, credit card bills or medical bills or something like that, that if given the gift of time, you would have paid those off over time. But, if you die in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there's some extra funds there. So it's great. We not only take care of inflation proofing the plan long term, but also provide some extra funds in the short term just by doing it that way. Now, for the cremation with the ceremony, we would typically help people with between $7,000 to $10,000. And again, we're just inflation proofing the plan long term, and short term, there's some extra money to just take care of some other unexpected expenses. Now, for a burial, the average cost of a burial right now in the United States is right around $10,000. So it's hard to imagine you couldn't walk into just about any funeral home in the United States with the $10,000 check and get something done. But, if your funeral home said no to that, you could just walk out the front door, walk a couple blocks down the road and talk with their competition, and I'm sure they would be able to work with you. But just keep in mind, $10,000 is not a fancy funeral anymore. And that's kind of just the cost that it would, in most places to get it done today. It's not inflation proof. So, if you have any inkling that you're going to live any number of years, we would typically end up helping people age 79-year-old male with typically between $10,000 to $15,000. If you got to transport a body out of state or something, maybe $20,000. But most of the people we work with are on a fixed or limited income, Social Security or disability. So we just really want to help them with the premium. So if things are tight right now, get that $10,000. That at least takes care of your most immediate needs, and then we can always help you add more coverage later. But most people would be looking probably right around $15,000. So just keep that in mind. Now, sometimes we'll get a 79-year-old male that would say, hey, I want to take care of my final expenses for sure, but I want to leave some money behind for my kids too. And, they might want to leave 20, 30, 40, 50,000, whatever it is. And so let's say it's 50,000 and we quote them that rate and it's just a little bit too much for them. And sometimes they would say, well, you know what, if I can't do everything, I'm not going to do anything at all. And we have to let them know that the rates are more expensive, and that's not the insurance company's fault. It's his fault because he waited until age 79 to try to get $50,000 worth of insurance. So don't do that. Let that be the lesson. It is going to be more expensive as you get older. So get this while you're younger. But what we actually recommend is, hey, let's do this. If your income's kind of tight, let's take care of the final expense policy first, burial, cremation, whatever that is. And then we can always come back and add a separate policy for the kids. But because bottom line is we know you're going to die and we need to get that insurance in place for you. Otherwise, your kids are going to have to pay this off. And chances are they're going to have to put it on credit cards. They're going to end up paying 26% interest, and it will probably take them years and years and years to pay this off. So don't do that to your kids. That's a terrible legacy to leave behind. At least get your final expenses done, cremation, burial. Now, one thing we always recommend is first day coverage or benefits. Now, we do not recommend those plans with 2-year waiting periods. We'll talk about those in a minute. But what first day coverage means is that hypothetically, if your plan were issued and approved today and you passed away tomorrow, then the insurance company would pay the entire policy value, whether it's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, whatever it is. That's the best coverage. It's also going to have the lowest pricing. Now, some people would say, you're right, Randy, I do like that first day coverage, but I am not in the best of health, and I'm worried I won't qualify because I know those plans ask health questions. And we say, well, yeah, they do ask health questions, but that's our problem, not your problem, at least from an insurance standpoint. And what we mean by that is that we work with so many different insurance companies. They all have different health questions. They all have different underwriting. And really right now, we're getting about 90 to 95% approvals for first day coverage or benefits. So we're terrific at what we do. Really, the only reason we wouldn't be able to get your first day coverage is if you had just waited too long and maybe you had a terminal illness and you're going to pass away in the next 12 months, or maybe you had dementia, or you're on dialysis, or in a hospital, or in a nursing home. If that were the case, we'd typically refer you to a different insurance company. The other thing that seems to happen on a weekly basis is we'll get a call from somebody and they'll say, hey, we had a family member pass away this last week. They didn't have insurance. We don't have any money. Now the body's down at the funeral home, and the funeral home director is not going to do anything till he gets a check in his hand. So we need to get this insurance policy really quick so we can get money in our hands to pay the funeral home director. We have to let people know there's no insurance company that's going to offer a policy on a dead person. You actually have to be alive to qualify for this insurance. And it's really sad they had a family member pass away, but it's doubly sad that their family member didn't care enough about them to get this insurance in place. They knew they were going to die someday. They'd probably looked at this insurance in the past and they just put it off until one day they just went and died. And now their family members have to pay for this. And chances are they're going to have to put it on their credit card, pay 26% interest, and it's going to take them years and years and years to get this paid off. What a terrible legacy to leave behind. You could have done everything right in this world and messed up that last thing, and that's how you're going to be remembered. So don't leave that legacy behind. This insurance is affordable. You know, if we need to, we can always start you smaller, always add more coverage later. But don't leave that negative legacy behind. Now, one thing we don't recommend getting is those plans with 2-year waiting periods. We talked about that. Colonial Penn's a fairly well-known company out there. And I think it's probably because they just advertise all the time on TV. Seems like there are $9.95 plan commercials on the TV every 7 minutes, it seems. But you may not know this, but that $9.95 plan, that's a 2-year waiting period plan. Yikes! You don't want that. You never want a 2-year waiting period plan when you qualify for first day coverage or benefits. So Colonial Penn's not the only company. There's other companies out there too, like Mutual of Omaha, their United of Omaha line, AIG, Gerber. Gosh, so many other insurance companies. And some of these companies have done an amazing job of convincing the American public that if you're over age 50, the only thing you're going to qualify for is a plan with a 2-year waiting period, to which we always say, don't believe such nonsense, because we help people with first day coverage all day long. Now, our 79-year-old male here probably just got done watching a Colonial Penn commercial, and he's probably thinking, you know what? I outsmarted Colonial Penn. I waited until age 79. And I saw that commercial. It's really slick. And I'm going to get a lot of coverage for $9.95. I'm probably going to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, maybe even $50,000. And then our 79-year-old male calls Colonial Penn and talks with one of the agents there. Or they get online and check the pricing like we're doing for you on Colonial Penn's website. And you'll see that for an age 79-year-old male, 1 unit of coverage, which is $9.95, is only going to buy $441 worth of coverage. Now, $441 is not enough to pay for a cremation anywhere we know of. And it wouldn't matter if it did, because it's got a 2-year waiting period where it's not going to pay out for the first 2 years if you die of any health or medical reason. So why would you ever get a plan that's not even going to pay for a cremation, much less a cremation with the service, much less a burial? You're not going to get a burial covered for $441. Now, there's some people out there that would say that there's companies that offer these really low teaser rates. They're just meant to tease you and think you can get a great deal. And, really the intent is to get your information and get you in their marketing funnel and then get you on the phone. And a lot of people would say that they actually don't even want to sell you the lowest price plans with that minuscule coverage. They just want that to show you that so that you'll see there's no sense. That makes no difference to me. That won't help me at all. And then they'll say, you're right. Why don't you get more coverage? And then they'll upsell you to higher coverage amounts, which are much more profitable for them. Now, we would never say Colonial Penn would ever do anything like that. But some people out there might be convinced to say something like that. I guess you formulate your own opinion based off the fact that you're only going to get $441 for $9.95. Now, let's look at $15,000. That's what this video is about. The challenge you're going to run into with Colonial Penn is they max out at 15 units. You can't get any more than that. And that's not going to be $15,000. In fact, when we select that, we see 15 units is only $6,615. That's going to be $150. But that's not even halfway to $15,000. So yeah, Colonial Penn, it's not the best option if that's what you want. Plus, it's got that, they're going to sock you with that 2-year waiting period. Let's see what $15,000 would be in first day coverage. So we've got $15,000 right here. Male, age 79. There we go. Get quotes. We're going to go back and look. Again, this is right around $6,500 for $150. And if we look at this, I want to show you again, $15,000. That's going to be roughly $188. And I agree. That's kind of getting expensive for folks, but that is what it is. That's what happens when you wait until age 79. That's not the insurance company's fault. That's the person looking in the mirror that's 79 that knew they could have got it at 69 and 59 and 49. You just waited. So I'm sorry, but that's kind of the way it is. This is preferred coverage, which means first day. Means the same thing as level of coverage, which means first day. So, 188, would you rather get, $15,000 for 188, or would you rather get, $6,600 for 149? So, the coverage is definitely less expensive. Even though it's more, you're getting so much more coverage. So just keep that in mind. Just be a smart consumer. If you're not a smart insurance shopper, that's okay. Most people aren't. We can help you be a smart insurance shopper. But let's look at some other companies here. Since we're here, we'll go down. 188. Here's Ilumico, 213. So that's around $25 more a month. So let's do the math on that. $24 a month times 12 months, or $25 a month, times 12 months is right around $300 a year. And if our 79-year-old makes it to age 89, you'll end up overpaying right around $3,000 more. And this is the same policy, same coverage amount. They're just going to charge you $3,000 more. So let me ask you this. If you had $3,000 in your wallet and you were walking down the sidewalk, would you ever pull out your wallet, open it up, and throw $3,000 on the sidewalk and keep walking and let people pick that money up and keep it? No, you wouldn't do that. You shouldn't do the same equivalent thing with the insurance company. Just let us help you get signed up for a policy that's the least amount of money, and you keep that money in your wallet. You should never hand over almost $3,000 to an insurance company. That's your wealth. You should keep it. Don't overpay for insurance. Let's look at maybe one more here. You'll be able to see all these companies. Well, here's one, Lincoln Heritage. Fine company, I guess, but holy cow, look at that pricing, $255. It is level first day coverage, but holy cow, look at that pricing, it's $255. Why is it so much? Well, Lincoln Heritage has got a deal. When you pass away, they will supposedly call 2 or 3 funeral homes and get the lowest pricing, maybe do a couple other things, but they don't do it for free. They charge money for that, and boy, it adds up over time. Let's compare this. Again, that's roughly $255 versus $188. If you go with Lincoln Heritage, you're going to overpay roughly $67 more a month. And you're going to overpay that $67 for the rest of your life. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Let's do the math on that. $67 times 12 months is right around $804 a year annually. And if our 79-year-old male makes it to age 89, you will have ended up overpaying right around $8,040. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth overpaying an insurance company around $8,040 after 10 years to make 2 or 3 phone calls and maybe do a couple other things that only take an hour or so to do? Man, there's a lot of people who say that's an amazing payday for the insurance company for an hour or so of work. We would tend to agree. We want you to keep that money in your own bank account. That is your wealth. You should not transfer that money over to an insurance company unnecessarily. You should not overpay. What we recommend you do, allow us to help you get approved for these lower price plans and save that money and keep that money in your own bank account. You can have so much more fun spending your own money rather than giving it to an insurance company. But yeah, let us help you get that base amount of coverage, and that way your family will be protected. And one other thing we can do for you after we get you that lowest pricing is we can get you a free funeral and estate planning guide. We actually have that on our website. You can download that for free. And then when you just print it out, and once it's printed out, you fill it out and you write down who gets what goes where, and what you want to happen after you're gone. And then when you're done with that, just keep that with your insurance policy. And then when you pass away, everything's in one place. And your family members will know that you not only loved and protected them in life, you not only protected them financially with the insurance policy, but you also protected them emotionally with the funeral and estate planning guide. And all you need to do is open that funeral and estate planning guide and start reading it. And then just execute what your loved one wrote down. And you will know that they not only loved and protected you in life, but they actually loved and protected you in death, exactly when you'd need it the most, when they weren't around, but they provided for you in their absence. What a wonderful legacy to leave behind. So if you'd like to leave a legacy like that behind, reach out to us at Funeral Funds of America. And we've got a special quote for our YouTube visitors, funeralfunds.com/YouTube. And you can get the best insurance companies with the lowest rates and the most discounts. Take full advantage of that. You can check out all the different insurance companies and then give us a call at 888-862-9456, and we can help you understand what you qualify for. But if you've got an existing policy and you want us to price shop it to make sure you got the lowest deal, or you want to add coverage to it, we can help you out with that. If you need a brand new policy or just have questions about what might be best for you or most appropriate or what's going to get you the best rates, we can help you out with that. But we look forward to getting you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money. We will be blessed to help you with this in the future at some point. Until that day comes, you stay safe, you take care, you have a nice day. Bye-bye.